Inline CSS is CSS that you write inside of an element inside of your document object model. The way we do that is using the style attribute, and that style attribute is a global attribute. Now in this video, you're not going to formally learn any CSS. However, if you want to take note of some of the CSS that I write, that is completely up to you. You won't be tested on any of the CSS that I write in this video because this is purely an HTML video. However, learning what you're about to learn will prep you for future CSS lessons, and you will be much better off knowing just a little bit of CSS from this video. Now to give you an example of some inline CSS, I'm going to create a div element with this style attribute, and I'm going to write test inside of it and close it. Let's preview it, and it's just a basic page that says test. Now all of our CSS goes inside here. Now a very quick lesson on CSS. You have what's called a declaration. And in a CSS declaration, you have a name value pair. So for example, border would be the name. You have a colon, 1 pixel solid red, and you end that declaration with a semicolon. So you can add more in here. Next, I'm going to add margin top. And I want that to be 50 pixels. And let's say I also want the width to be 30% of my page. Now again, it's not space sensitive, just like HTML. It should be all lowercase. And we have 3 declarations here. We have our border declaration, margin top declaration, and our width declaration. So I'm going to save this, and let's go take a look at this in Chrome. So now we can see there's a space at the top that's a 50 pixel margin from the top. That means the element's going to sit 50 pixels below. The width is not 100% of the screen. It's a block element, so it should be, but we said it only needs to take up 30%. And of course, there is that red border around it. So that's inline CSS in a nutshell. We put all of our CSS inside this style attribute. And again, that style attribute is a global attribute, so it can go inside of almost any other HTML element. As an example, let's change this to the paragraph. Flip back over to Chrome. It doesn't look any different. Let's do it with a span element. Remember, this is an inline element. This is not going to take up the entire width of the page. Because of that, width might not work. Refresh my page. Now the width is not working the way it's supposed to, and the margin is not working either. And that's because those only affect block elements or inline block elements. However, our border is still working. And that shows that our style is applicable to any element. So your task for this video is to create a new div element, add the style attribute to it. In that style attribute, I want you to write a little bit of CSS. Feel free to go backwards in this video, pause it where you need to, and copy the CSS that I've written. If you're familiar with CSS, feel free to write your own, but if you're not, you can copy mine. Then I want you to save and open the document in your browser and take note of what has happened. So if you've added a border, there will be a border. If you've added a margin, there will be a margin. If you specified a width of 70%, it should only be 70% the width of your screen. Do that, and when you're done, we'll see you in the next video.